Hey, we're live at Soergel's today. Awesome place. Take a look at the crowd. We got pumpkin folks everywhere. This place is an apple orchard. They have pumpkins here for picking and apples for picking. We bring our own. We bring our own pumpkins. This is just a half of one. We've got Chancer's made most of the jack-o'-lanterns. This guy got a new home today, so they're coming to pick him back up. They're going to get their car. Kind of a cool place. So we hang out under this giant oak tree who drops acorns on our head periodically, right? So over here we got barb signs and lots of peeps, checking out our stuff. So it's a beautiful day in Western Pennsylvania for everybody to do their fall festival stuff. We're going to carve live here in a couple minutes. I just figured we'd show everybody kind of what we got and the kind of nice crowd we got. We're also by the playground, so a lot of excitement and action and screaming and hollering going on over there all the time. I just love these guys. They're funny, so we sold a few of those today already. A few jack-o'-lanterns. Barb actually has nice little cool gifts for the kids. So this is a good pumpkin weekend right here. Oh, hi. I'm sorry. What'd you say, honey?
She wants to be on the live.
Oh, say hi. You say hi? Well, that lasted about 2 seconds, huh? Oh, that's funny. She's shy. Oh, she's making faces now. Uh-oh. Oh, yeah. Here we go. So we got all this set up for the kids to get their picture taken. The sign took a beating today. Somebody was jumping up and down on Sasquatch and knocked the sign off.
Yeah, that's all good.
Oh, great. No, yeah, perfect. Nice meeting you guys. Take care. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. Thanks for the purchase. So, hey, we got the little eagle anchor in the corner. How do you like our little deal, me and Barbie? So Barb was having a good hair day that day, so we'll call it good. Hey, this is the old sign section over here and flag section. So we're getting low on flags. I guess we got to get whipping up some flags this week. So I'm short-handed without Barb this week, so I guess everybody else is going to have to do overtime. Heavy duty. Come on, you want to come up and see what we're carving? That'll be fun. So we're going to do, hey, show them your office, Chance. This is Chance's hangout. This is Chance's office. Oh yeah, toys for the kids. Look, he gets great meals. Poor kid, he had to work so hard he had to skip it. It took us forever to make lunch without Barb. We're not the best lunch makers. So here's kind of my little setup. Got a 12 by 12 easy up. Built a 16 by 16 stage. Got netting all around on 3 sides. So I keep all my smaller saws on the top row, the heavier ones on the bottom row. We're always messing around with the little saws. They give me the most problems, so when they get hot, I just grab another little saw till it all cools down. So I gas everybody up. So we're kind of ready to go with that, I need another hound dog. We got one going to some kind of fundraiser deal. So so the new one I got, Chance, can you come back here a minute? The new one, I'm going to try to make these jaws flop over the paws. I'm going to make this a little tighter and make them try to look all mushed in there. So yeah, right here, bub. So that's what's going to come out of this thing. It looks like a mailbox right now. So basically, here's your 2 front paws. This is where the lips and jaws are going to come flying over there. I'm going to cut this straight back. Chance, come to this side if you don't mind. So I got a line over here. So that's going to be the end of his nose. Then we're going to come angle up here to the top of the forehead. This is about the width of the head. Then just going to do a little bit of a cut down right here. And then we're going to, we'll go on this side for over here. So we're going to swoop off the head, kind of put a little slump back in there, and then a butt and hip. And once I get that all done, it's off to the races from there. So biggest thing, I take my time on the head, try to get this head in there right, and then I can usually rock and roll with the body pretty good. So hey, we're going to set up and start carving. want to get that speaker thing off the bottom?
Yeah.
We're going to start off with 201. Try to get this face in here nice. And,
This one? Yeah, this one was the master. The Army Strong. Army Strong.
Right, what were you on? Yep.
Gutter signs looking pretty good today. Nice crowd today. It's the busiest crowd so far. I think it's closer and closer to Halloween. The crowd gets bigger and bigger here. Pretty crazy place sometimes. Big traffic jams, wall-to-wall peeps. So we got the general shapes in it. So we got the 2 front feet in here. We got the beginning of the nose. We got some little floppy jaws going to the side of the feet. Might have to shorten these up a little bit. They're a little extra big right now. Usually don't do them with the floppy jaws. I figured I'd try one. Probably look a little cooler. I'll probably do some kind of S curve here on the jaw, around the toes. So now the head's real big, and we've got to get the ears in there. That's kind of probably our next step. We just kind of chunk a little bit out of the back. That 201 to get the hair too short to reach the whole way across there. So I probably should have got a bigger saw. I was trying to make all the little S bends and turns and swoopy cuts with that saw. It's a small tip, but just the hair short on everything, so I had to cut a little bit from both sides. So that's going to be the next plan. We'll start shaping out this head here. I'll probably draw on it a little bit because I'm terrible now. I'm not a really great artist. I'm a carpenter, so I do a lot of stuff with the squares. So anyhow, working on the head next. Face and chin, get this head here, sit here. We'll be on the home stretch. like to draw with this little saw. That's pretty fun. I can usually see things in my mind a little better if I have a little cut versus a marker. So, and it's slow, so my mind has the time to keep up. In my face. I'm just gonna make a little swoopy, curvy cut around this claw. So I love this little saw. So I use it to draw with. I kind of grind with it too. For me, if it's something I'm not sure about all my cuts on, I like it because it's slow enough. My mind's obviously hopefully keeping up with what I'm doing, and I don't make a mistake. So that's kind of a huge thing, for sure for me especially. But, yeah, some guys can remember. I can make 10 of these things. Don't make them for 3 months and have to relearn them all over again. getting this kind of roll around. Got the feet in there, kind of sitting with that for the weight is all kind of hanging out. So I'm feeling a little confident we got that roughed out to the point where I can kind of go onto the head of the gears. So it's kind of ready to go. I'm just going to do a little sketchy bit with this thing. Right now I gotta have room for these ears, so I'm gonna tuck the jaws in behind the ears, so I'm kind of cutting back with this. The other thing we don't do with this saw, we don't push on it. If it's dull, we sharpen it. It doesn't take, it's hard on it pushing it or whatever. And my little saw here, actually, the oiler's giving me problems with it, so I'm not getting a ton of oil, so that makes it even worse. But anyhow, just to keep the heat off it and keep everything lasting, I just kind of take my time, let the saw do the cutting, and push it. Hey, yeah, there's 10 feet on in there. Guy day at Soergel's, me and Chance could have potentially starved to death. We don't have beaver barb here cooking. Keep an eye on our mom this week. So it's man day at Soergel's.
Loving her, never sat by the fire and I read on chairs. You know, Nancy, I adore you.
Just kind of sketched in with this saw. I'll come back with a big saw and make it all happen. But when I do just little baby cuts right now to see what I got. This is my newest 201. Probably, I don't know, 3 months after I had it. It wasn't idle. I could get it to start, but it won't idle on low idle. Took the saw shop a bunch of times. This was 10 years ago. They're like, nothing we can do about it. Blah, blah, blah. So you see me revving it all the time. That's why. If I let it low idle for very long, it gets stalled out. Other than that, it runs good. Doesn't get as hot as some of the other ones, but has that issue. Okay, let's drop you down here and kind of show you what we're doing a little bit closer. All right, so got the little paws kind of starting in here, okay? And I'm trying to make this head all kind of blend and kind of melt together. So trying to start easing his face all back. The kind of, it slopes together. So I got the front part of the ear, so I'm trying to blend this floppy jaw into this ear right there and have a smooth transition into that, okay? We'll be brushing some eyes into this guy right in here pretty shortly. So we'll do a little of that, get that kind of going. But we're sort of getting there. So if you look, I got right ear's down from the left ear a smidge, but I can always go down. Then I'm going to start trying to narrow this back end up or whatever. I got it up on this little 6x6 block so everybody can kind of see it better. He's got a big wonking rear end right now, so gonna need a little attitude adjustment back there. But anyhow, it's kind of getting it going. So let's just get behind this ear next. Keep kind of chipping away at this, smoothing it together. But it's coming along. Might not be easy to see in that picture, but maybe there's kind of a good idea. You kind of get at this distance an idea of what's coming. Got a big old wild forehead. I might take that big nut head down just a smidge on the top. Anyhow, so then the next thing we're going to be working on will be get this head in, get this shoulder and elbow in. And this is the one I always have trouble, like this thing gets plowing out of here a lot. But so basically behind his head, I need to get really a bigger saw out, and I'm going to start narrowing this body, the body down. So we don't want a really fat coon dog. We want an old, skinny, mini, starving coon dog that ain't getting many raccoons looking for the front porch. So anyhow, I'll rack the phone back up, but kind of just give you a little idea of where we're at, where we're trying to go, all those kind of things. Hey, how you guys doing? Yeah. Oh, probably an hour and a half, like that. So we're gonna get it roughed out a little bit. So we're kind of moving live as we're going. So doing a little carving, a little talking, and back and forth. You guys having fun at the Soergels today? Yeah, perfect day for this, eh? Yeah. All right, well, you guys enjoy. All right, it's about to get noisy. chipping away at it, kind of got to the side. So I think I'm going to draw this shoulder in and cut a little bit on the other side. Switch it around a little bit so people can see.
Served in the Oh no. Man reading.
Still got to get that neck hair down behind the head.
Yeah. I feel like the mice are really up and they don't have arrows.
starting to come around, starting to get this narrow down, get that big wonky head down, get this big butt down. So this was a log I kind of saved from the scrap bin. Been in our pile for a while. It's kind of cruddy on the outside. So when I got done, I just say cruddy, it just the sapwood gets kind of rotty easy. It wasn't real rotty, but you don't get it all off there. When they're older like that, they crack like crazy just on that little sapwood part. So yeah, I got this all down to clean wood, but in the process of doing that, this bottom was a little bit narrower than the butt is up high here. So it makes it a little bit backwards from what I normally want it. But it was nice and flat on the bottom. All the other numbers worked. It was the only little funky thing. So keep trying to bring it in so I can get the hips and legs in here the way they're supposed to be. Anyhow, let's get that shoulder drawn in. Down. Another thing I keep doing, I keep bringing my center line back all the time. So, that kind of stuff. So, do whatever it takes. Hey, how you doing? What's that?
That event I'm doing for next May where I'm going to rent one from them.
Okay.
I got the township to agree to that. You said like $150. They said no problem.
Okay, that's great. Yeah.
If you need to bump it up a little bit, let me know.
Okay, so I was just going to give you one with the eagle, grab an American flag kind of thing or whatever. I just trying to keep them going or whatever. If I have to do the wings up and the wings out, that's a whole big project. Yeah.
Not necessary.
All right, appreciate everything. Thank you.
I'll get you paid ahead of time too.
All right, take care. Thank you.
Next to you.
Okay, let's take a look at this side. She's about home on this side. We're about there. We're about there. All right, so let's just start at the front end and work our way to the crappy end, right? So here's kind of a little head-on, little picture. So we're gonna move this center mark over here just a smidge. That's got to go yet. I'm gonna thin this here down when we get to this half, but made my life a lot easier keeping these two front paws nice and tight. So when they're tight, then I don't have such a fight to get this elbow in when I start making this skinnier, so it doesn't look like, hey, the feet are out here and then the elbow bows and kicks out. So that's kind of worked out a lot better, keeping that front feet in a little tighter than I did like on this one. See how I have the paws out, just not as nice looking as that one. It'll pass, but you know, I've sold a bunch of these, but anyhow, cooler looking with the jaws out over the paws, and then I have these paws tucked up. So this one's kind of like, hey, these dive in, then that kind of dives out. Not that you can really notice that too much, but if you super look close, you can figure it out. So anyhow, that's the point of this. Here's kind of where we're going to start on this side. So basically we're going to make this side look like the other side, short of the tail. I guess we got to put a foot in this one. Or, you know what? I'm going to tuck it under. I think I am. I'm going to tuck it under and I won't have to mess with the foot. So anyhow, so basically got a little baby paw under here showing. Kind of try to swoop that tail up. And then tuck this hip under the tail. Kind of have the tail centered here in the back. See if we can figure that out. There we go. Need to make that a little more prominent. And this log was a little narrower down here than the top was. But like I said, it was a scrap piece I tried saving. See how this pith of the log is kind of way over here? I was trying to find something where that was low, so I had all that upper meat out of his face to deal with, so we don't have any cracking issues up there. So we're gonna go ahead and slope this butt down on this side. But anyhow, we're about ready to do the flipperoo, the old flipperoo. Then we'll just go into the face after that. Then we're gonna call her quits for the day.
Quite the saw collection.
Hey, you got that right. How you doing, buddy? Thank you. Appreciate all that.
What's your favorite one?
Everybody asks me that. Hey, I'm not prejudiced. I'm a 50-50 Husky and Steel person. I've threw every one of them one time or the other when they wouldn't start, right? But you know what? Both of them, I don't have problems with the big saws. I always have trouble with the little saws. You know, yeah, they get hot. So they're really compact and they get hot. That's the biggest problem I have with the small saws. You got to really keep them clean, like there's not that all the time around.
Yeah, but they jam up.
Yeah. So you get some kind of oil and stuff in the cylinder pins and big flywheel and everything like that. So like I said, we've got time to do 20 saws, we'll take them all apart. Each one needs a good 45 minutes of messing around.
Have you done for this thing so far?
Soergel's here. I usually do 2 or 3. We had a little late start today. It was busy. We're doing actually a YouTube live, which you're on. That's for carving. So it takes a little extra time. But anyhow,
What are you doing to keep them from cracking?
they all crack some. I always tell everybody, like, it's a free, one time for free, bring it back to the shop. So I why I tell everybody, keep it for like a year, let it dry up, bring it back, and then just give it a recondition.
Now when you do put more wood in the grass,
Yeah, I'll put like wood in there. They're small cracks. These outdoor sawdust. There's all kinds of
yeah. What outdoor glue do you use?
type on tree.
Okay. So it's a regular yellow glue, not like that.
Yeah, it's kind of more. It's not screaming white. It's more. Yeah, it's a wood glue. Type on that the third.
Yeah, I know the type one.
Yeah, yeah.
I was just they have those ones that come in quart tubes. Like
Yeah, yeah.
you
yeah.
don't use that.
No, I know what you're thinking of.
Yeah, more construction. That's a more
Yeah, more construction. Yeah, so soon dog going on someone's 40,000.
Uh-huh.
I make them once in a while. I do a couple of them. It makes my life a lot better, but I do it that way.
Yeah.
I haven't made one for a good while, so.
Yeah, it's good to keep your mind on the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the first one may take an hour and a half, the next one takes an hour, and the last one takes 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. A lot better for me if I have one to look at
Oh yeah.
prior to, selling the last one or whatever.
Oh yeah.
So that was playing them down to one. I'm like, all right, I'm going to cut another one real quick before they're gone.
So you're here every year then? Or?
I've been here for 21 years.
Yeah, because we've been coming here and I never talked to Kim up to Wexford.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I didn't know if you were the same person or not.
Yeah, you're always been me. Yeah, this was my side hustle for 20 some years.
Oh, nice.
When I was an excavator and builder my whole life. This was Christmas money. Then on a lot of times I couldn't excavate in the fall anyway because it was too wet, right? So on wet days we make companies. That's all I sold for years. And then it kind of evolved from there. So basically, now I make all kinds of crazy stuff. I ship it to multiple states. Excellent.
You retired now or?
Sort of. Working on a subdivision right now in Beaver County. Might be my last. See how it goes. I've been at the subdivision for over a year. The township was just slow. I had city sewer water on it, blah, blah, blah. Couldn't have been any big deal, but they're just kind of overwhelmed down there. It's a small little community, so I don't think the person in charge can all that. The big holdup was getting the sewer there. They had city sewer, but then where the town that it was getting dumped off at was under some kind of allocation.
So they couldn't put septic in?
No, I didn't want to. I had their state sewer and water there. I didn't want to put that. And the one lot was kind of small. All that being said, I think I'm there. We're just waiting on the Allegheny County to pass the stuff. And they did pass.
You're in Allegheny County.
No, I'm in Beaver, but Allegheny is the DER inspection agency for Beaver. So, yeah, that's So I think we're good. I think the supervisor's all signed. I just missed the planning commission. They got to sign it and it goes off to the courthouse. I think I'm there. Everything was pending on the DOT passing. We're there. We're there. A bunch of money and a bunch of time.
Yeah.
A bunch of wonders. I lost
Aggravation.
wasted my money. Yeah, did I waste my money?
Not to mention age.
Yeah.
Ages you.
Yeah. We feel I want to be dead before I get bought and sold.
Yeah.
Or whatever, built my
Well, that's where I'm at. I don't like doing anything anymore. I'm thinking I got only so much time left on this planet, and
don't want to waste it working.
yeah, I don't want to waste it working. I mean, this is great. I wouldn't call this work. This is a creative stuff.
I'm exactly where you're saying. I like what I do.
Yeah.
We take the winters off a lot. We live in a Florida community, so a lot of the winters the last 4 years.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we're going to be in northern Florida this year, putting on a carving event. Invited in Florida City, in Homestead area. This is you're about to, we're only like 3 miles from you, drop on Highway 1 to hit the Keys. So the Everglades are all right there. All
Nice. You get wood from down there too?
That's how I got started here. I was trying to find wood. This dude has a roadside stand kind of thing. It's huge. It's like this, very much similar to this. And he just likes to collect wood. So he'll go get all kinds of exotic woods that are only there in the United States because it's so warm down there. Like Cuban mahogany, pecan, just all kinds of weird stuff you only find there.
Yeah.
He collects all that, and that's why I met him. Going with that, and then he, twisted my arm to carve at his place like this while we were there. So I did. I carved a giant bear, a tub, carved a tiki bench while I was there. Carved made all kinds of signs for him in the stores. So,
Nice.
So we just became friends, and here we are.
Nice. Taking photos? Okay. Well, it's nice talking with
Nice
you.
talking to you guys. Take care. teardrop burr bit, probably the most popular bit going. All right, so there's kind of the old floppy jaws. We got some toenails in there. So a little bit of sanding, a little bit of floppy wheeling. We'll be ready to roll. Let's go slow here. So we got that little shoulder, elbow, little tail, little paw down there. There, got a nice little booty on my dog. Look at that. That's a hind end if you ever seen one. There you go. All right. So this one we just kind of tuck the leg under. I could almost do a little more tucking. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. And we're almost there. So anyhow, close it and gap. This is it. I thought it was it, but then I took a look at this. It's up, so still the same. I'm going to go ahead and taper this down so it looks like it's kind of rolled down under a little bit more. That'll be it.
Oh, there's trouble right there. How you doing? Good, good. See how the sports Phil does all the work and Vance is chilling. These people watching. I know.